Hello and welcome. This is Reverend Billy at Earth Riot Radio. This is a production of the Church of StopShopping in New York City. The Earth is here. The Earth is coming and the Earth is arriving, and we've got to live where we are. We've got to live in this place that we are, which is the Earth. And we haven't been doing that. We push it away. We believe that we can put the Earth into structures and definitions, and we can track and measure and name. The Earth is moving now on all fronts: flooding, fire, change in life forms, atmospheric rivers, the deepest currents in the oceans. And we're afraid. And we call all that a kind of murder that's happening. The Earth is behaving badly. No, the Earth is doing that on purpose with a will to live. And there is just a general evolution happening. You can call it extinction if you want to. It's evolution. Life will survive, because life has survived in the past when there were general problems with the atmosphere and so forth. The Earth has found a way. The Earth's one task is to live, is to see to it that life continues. And we might not be, a part of that life right now. But we're not in control at all. We can barely see and name what's happening. Let's just run. Let's just swim. Let's just find a way to practically apply the speed with which the Earth is changing into our lives. And if we have to dispense with a lot of the things that we've been doing, well, we have to be brave that way. It's a time of extreme, rapid, deep evolution. And the Earth is calling out to us. And let's call out to each other now in the next 30 minutes. Somebody, first of all, let's just celebrate. Give me an Earth hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Apocalypse fall. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't no blues. No, it ain't. No, 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 no.
I do get the blues. All that shopping gets me depressed. But what really gets me down is that damn convenience.
All right, our next witness is Dr. Carl Sagan of Cornell University, a man who needs no introduction. He comes to us today from the Center for Radio Physics and Space Sciences. We welcome you, and we're very pleased that you would take the time out of your schedule to come to a place like Washington, where everything seems to be living in today and not in tomorrow, to share with us your particular view of how our past and our present may well affect our future. Carl, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Senator Dernberger, Senator Gore, Senator Burdick. I'm glad to be here. As I understand my function, it is to give some sense of what the greenhouse effect is, to try to say something about greenhouse effect on other planets, to again underscore that this is a real phenomenon, and then perhaps I can take the liberty to say a few remarks about what to do about it. The power of human beings to affect and control and change the environment is growing as our technology grows. And at present time, we clearly have reached the stage where we are capable, both intentionally and inadvertently, to make significant changes in the global climate and in the global ecosystem. And we've probably been doing, on a smaller scale, things like that for a very long period of time. For example, slash and burn agriculture, which has been with us for tens of thousands of years probably, changes the climate to some extent by changing the albedo, the reflectivity of the Earth. That massive changes have occurred is clear from the historical record. For example, Egypt was once the breadbasket of the Roman Empire. It may be the same role as the American Midwest plays today. That is certainly no longer the case. It's not a greenhouse effect issue. It may be an overgrazing issue, but is an example of how humans are perfectly capable of making these unexpected and inadvertent changes. Because the effects occupy more than a human generation, there is a tendency to say that they are not our problem. Of course, then they are nobody's problem. Not on my tour of duty, not on my term of office. It's something for the next century. Let the next century worry about it. But the problem is that there are effects, and the greenhouse effect is one of them, which have long time constants. If you don't worry about it now, it's too late later on. And so in this issue, as in so many other issues, we are passing on extremely grave problems for our children when the time to solve the problems, if they can be solved at all, is now.
My name is Hindu Umaru Ibrahim. I'm from Chad, and I'm coming from a nomadic pastoralist communities who are a cattle herders. My peoples are living between 5 countries: Chad, Cameroon, Niger, Nigeria, Central African Republic. Because before the colonization, for us, all those places are our land. What the scientists are telling them, they are not listening. What indigenous peoples are telling them for so many years, they are not listening. So they must sit down, shut up, and listen about this urgency.
My name is Emanuela Shinta, and I was born in Kalimantan. I belong to the Dayak communities. We are the first people of Borneo Island. We have this philosophy in Dayak. It's called Huma Betang. So it's a large house. Our people used to live in this long house that have like 25 families. And you know, like when one room, let's say, caught in the fires, it's impossible for others only to sit and watch. The same way right now now happening, we live in this planet. This planet is our large house, it's our huma betang. And when one crisis happen in one place, you just sit and watch, right? And just cheering them, like keep up the good work, but you do nothing. You need to step and take an action. This is not the time for concept and theory. We can have thousands webinars, but cannot save even 1 inch of the forest.
Hello, my name is Chidera Padi, and my native name is Aguvach. I'm Yupik and Samoan. We're from near the Kuskokwim River, so Alaska, near Russia, right by Canada. And so Yupik people, we're just people of the sea. We subsist from the sea. Indigenous peoples make up such a small portion of the population of the entire world, but protect over 80% of the world's biodiversity. That's significant. When we think of land, we don't think of it as a commodity. The reason why climate change exists is because colonialism and capitalism go hand in hand. But when you think of the land as a commodity, as something that can be bought, as something that isn't sacred, this leads to rising CO2 emissions.
My name's Amelia Telford. I'm a Bundjalung and South Sea Islander woman. I'm from the north coast of New South Wales. That's where the rainforest meets the sea. A core part of who we are as Aboriginal people is our connection to our land. I think, what gives me hope is connection to other people who believe that the changes that we're seeking are absolutely possible. Build a connection with one person, it leads to a connection with others. You can build, a local group, build power, come together with your family and friends, talk about what your vision is for the future, talk about what are the barriers that are holding you from getting there. What do you then need to do to be able to make the changes to make that possible?
Hello, welcome to News from the Natural World. I'm Savitri D. As of September 2025, the State of Palestine is recognized as a sovereign state by 156 of the 193 member states of the United Nations, or just over 80% of all UN members. It has been a non-member observer state of the UN General Assembly since November 2012. This limited status is largely due to the fact that the United States, a permanent member of the UN Security Council with veto power, has consistently used its veto, or threatened to do so, to block Palestine's full UN membership. Palestine is recognized by the other 4 permanent members, which are China, France, Russia, and the United Kingdom. Israel continues its ground assault on Gaza City, and hunger is only increasing in Gaza. 5 people were rescued after a boat of critically endangered Iberian orcas rammed into a sailboat several times, causing it to sink off Portugal's Costa de Caparica, near the nation's capital, Lisbon, on September 13th. None of the people on board suffered any injuries. The same day, around 60 kilometers northeast, tourists aboard a second sailboat also reported orcas knocking against the side of their vessel. This year, more than 80 such orca interactions, most of them involving sailboats, have been reported along the coast of Spain and Portugal. The Iberian orcas form a subpopulation of killer whales found in the Strait of Gibraltar, numbering roughly 37 individuals. More than 100,000 people marched through Cuenca, a city in southern Ecuador, on September 16th, demanding that federal authorities revoke an environmental license for a gold mining project that may impact an important freshwater source. The Loma Larga mining project, run by Canadian mining company Dundee Precious Metals, borders the 3,200-hectare Quimsacocha National Recreation Area, located within the UNESCO Maquiso de Cajas Biosphere Reserve. Quimsacocha is a central source of clean fresh water in the Andean Paramo tundra, located approximately 30 kilometers southeast of Cuenca. According to Reuters, protesters at the March for Water, indigenous and other local groups chanted "Hands off Quimsacocha," and water is worth more than anything. A multinational treaty to protect vast expanses of the world's oceans is finally set to become law in January 2026, with environmentalists hailing its enactment as crucial to safeguarding the marine ecosystems. The move by Morocco and Sierra Leone to join the UN Treaty on the High Seas clinched the threshold of at least 60 ratifications needed to enact it as international law. The law aims to protect biodiverse areas and waters worldwide that lie in waters beyond countries' exclusive economic zones. Covering more than 2/3 of the ocean, the agreement sets binding rules to conserve and sustainably use marine biodiversity, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said. Scientists have discovered what's thought to be the oldest known mummies in the world in southeastern Asia, dating back up to 12,000 years. Egypt's mummies may be the most well known, but until now some of the oldest mummies were prepared by a fishing people called the Chinchorro about 7,000 years ago in what is now Peru. New research has found human remains that were buried in crouched or squatted positions, with some cuts and burn marks in various archaeological sites across China and Vietnam, and to a lesser extent from the Philippines, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Studying the bones further, scientists discovered the bodies were likely exposed to heat. That suggested the bodies had been smoke-dried over a fire and mummified by hunter-gatherer communities in the area. 5 people in Louisiana have died in 2025 from a flesh-eating bacterium found in warm coastal waters, substantially exceeding the annual average on such deaths. Those who had died from contracting Vibrio vulnificus as of this week were among at least 26 to be infected with the bacterium, with each case resulting in hospitalization, according to Louisiana's Department of Health. Most of those cases, 85%, involved wounds being exposed to seawater, and 92% of the infected had one underlying health condition. Over the previous decade, Louisiana has registered an average of 10 Vibrio infections and a single death. The higher numbers in Louisiana come after scientific researchers had warned of evidence that Vibrio infections are becoming more common amid rising sea surface temperatures associated with the climate crisis. About 1 in 5 people who contract Vibrio in particular die, occasionally within 2 days of feeling sick from the infection. Those who do survive such an infection on occasion require limb amputation or intensive care. A new Northwestern study analyzing public records maintained by the U.S. Government Publishing Office and Congressional Budget Office over a 40-year period showed that federal science and research accounts received more funding when Republicans controlled the U.S. House of Representatives and the presidency, as opposed to their Democratic counterparts. The research team looked at the full scope of federal money contained in appropriation bills for science from 1980 to 2020. This includes not only grant-making through entities like the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation, but also the scientific work federal agencies conduct in-house and through government contracts. Scientists from Taiwan have developed a new material that can stretch up to 4,600% of its original length before breaking. Even if it does break, gently pressing the pieces together at room temperature allows it to heal, fully restoring its shape and stretchability within 10 minutes. The sticky and stretchy polyurethane organogels were designed by combining cellulose nanocrystals and modified mechanically interlocked molecules that act as artificial molecular muscles. The muscles make the gel sensitive to external forces such as stretching or heat, where its color changes from orange to blue based on whether the material is at rest or stimulated. Thanks to these unique properties, the gels hold great promise for next-generation technologies, from flexible electronic skins and soft robots to anti-counterfeiting solutions. Once a haven for flamingos, sturgeon, and thousands of seals, fast receding waters are turning the northern coast of the Caspian Sea into barren stretches of dry sand. In some places, the sea has retreated more than 50 kilometers. Wetlands are becoming deserts, fishing ports are being left high and dry, and oil companies are dredging ever longer channels to reach their offshore installations. Climate change is driving this dramatic decline in the world's largest landlocked sea. Found at the boundary between Europe and Central Asia, the Caspian Sea is surrounded by Azerbaijan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Turkmenistan, and sustains around 15 million people. The Caspian is a hub for fishing, shipping, and oil and gas production, and is of rising geopolitical importance as it sits where the interests of global superpowers meet. Songbirds start to learn their parents' songs and calls while they are still in the egg. Female fairy wrens sing to their eggs to teach a specific call that the young produce once they hatch. When a young songbird is learning its song, some research has found the regions of their brains dedicated to song are active as they sleep, leading the researchers to characterize the sleeping song movements of zebra finches in particular as, quote, much like a dream. The following day, the bird sings a better quality song, similar to its parent's song. As the young bird reaches adulthood, it continues to dream of song, and when deprived of sleep, song output will suffer. And now, the sounds of extinction. The tooth-billed pigeon is a large fruit-eating pigeon that is native to Samoa in the central South Pacific. This rare wild pigeon species is Samoa's national bird. The tooth-billed pigeon is a medium-sized, dark pigeon with reddish feet and red, bare skin around the eye. The tooth-billed pigeon is confined to undisturbed forests because of ongoing habitat loss, limited range, small population size, hunting, and occasional cyclones, as well as the likely impact of introduced species such as pigs, dogs, rats, and cats. The tooth-billed pigeon is evaluated as critically endangered. It has no close living relative, but it has been shown to be genetically close to the dodo. Surveys suggest numbers are critical and that 50 to 250 individuals survive in the wild. There is currently no captive population. In 2020, the bird was both heard and seen during a survey of forests on Savaii. And now, the sound of the tooth-billed pigeon.
Imagine a world where communities splinter into competing individuals and clans called corporations, where you can't give anything freely anymore because all things have imminent market value. The gift economy, which is the heartbeat of any community, is an attack on the corporation's imagined profits. This isn't an economic theory at all. It's a fundamentalist religion and a mental condition. Example: Egypt is now being sued by a French corporation because Egypt instituted a minimum wage for its people. This civic altruism, while undoubtedly saving children's lives, alters the French corporation's profit projections. The international courts, created by free trade agreements and dominated by corporations, are ruling that the corporation's planned for net income has legal precedence over Egypt's gift to its own people. No safety net in this world is safe, because nothing on the replacement planet can be left outside of the market. These zombies in suits even see climate change as a worthwhile revision. The melting Arctic ice endangers us all, with so many of our power plants at sea level, but the melt opens up shipping lanes. Will the replacers sue scientists for scaring people with their descriptions of methane levels in the atmosphere to match the early phase of previous extinctions? Is this attempt to save lives another illegal gift? Rarely has world leadership been so off its nut. The suits that gather in Davos and .com land, the City of London and Wall Street, they are as crazy as bedbugs. They keep calling their pixelated playground the free market. The impact of this belief system is devastating the way it is playing out in our lives. Well, it is threatening real life. We have not yet found the activism to slow this killer system, just as we have not slowed down this market's most impactful product, climate change. We have bought into the replacement planet so completely that most of us still don't recognize the danger we're in back here in the world of irreplaceable actual life. Should we be surprised that duplicating and selling life cannot be sustained on a large scale? Will someone tell the emperor that he's stark naked? This is why Edward Snowden is far more important as an Earth activist than, say, the Environmental Defense Fund. The system is the killer. Revealing the system for what it is, that's the mother of all campaigns. Racism, militarism, colonialism, to some extent these are many names for one thing. The system manages and murders that which it sees as outside the system, which includes all the old concepts like democracy, liberty, equality. For those of us living on a replacement planet, each and every product we buy trains us to normalize this bogus life. Like all fundamentalist systems, the neoliberal economy is violent. Replacing life is killing life. Amid all the smiling advertisements, the threat of violence is replacement planet's basic enforcement approach. The natural world seems to know this. We have noticed the 200-mile-an-hour winds, the droughts, fires, and floods. All around the replacement planet, the original world is raging. The living thing called the Earth is on the move, freeing itself from the mimicry of this outer crust of products. The Earth is shaking itself free of its proposed replacement.